Hey everyone, welcome back. You ready to dive in?
Let's do it.
Awesome. Today we're tackling a topic that's been generating a lot of buzz lately, and I'm really excited to get into it with you. Black marriage.
Yeah, it's such a rich area full of nuance. It's definitely not a one size fits all kind of thing.
Not at all.
Yeah,
And we've got some really interesting sources lined up that dig into the trends, challenges, the whole picture of what black marriage looks like in the 21st century.
exactly. And we'll be looking at all of it. The data, personal stories, even how ideas about family are changing within the Black community today.
It's about getting beyond those surface level assumptions and really understanding the forces at play, both historically and in the present. You with me?
Absolutely. I think it's going to be eye-opening for a lot of people.
Okay, so let's kick things off with some of the core trends we're seeing. When we look at the raw numbers, what's the current state of marriage rates among Black individuals?
Well, to be honest, the data paints a pretty clear picture. Over the past few decades, we've seen a significant decline in marriage rates among Black individuals.
Oh, wow, so it's a pretty noticeable downward trend.
Yeah, definitely noticeable. And at the same time, we've seen a rise in cohabitation. So more couples are choosing to live together, build a life together, but not necessarily going the traditional marriage route.
Interesting. So that's a pretty big shift. How do divorce rates factor into all of this?
Well, divorce rates have kind of fluctuated over time. It's not a simple up or down. But what's really important is to look beyond the numbers themselves. Those statistics only tell part of the story.
Right, because behind every statistic, there are real people with real lives and experiences.
Exactly. So instead of getting caught up in just the numbers, we need to ask ourselves, why are we seeing these shifts? What are the factors driving these trends, especially within the Black community?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question.
Mhm.
So let's dig in. What are some of the social and economic forces at play here?
Well, one of the biggest factors we have to consider is economic disparity. Black couples often face significant financial pressures, more so than other groups. In fact, one of our sources highlighted a study that found that Black couples are twice as likely to experience financial hardship compared to their white counterparts.
Wow, twice as likely. That's a huge difference.
It is, and you can imagine how that kind of strain, those daily worries about finances, can put a real burden on any relationship. It makes it harder to just enjoy being together and building a future.
Absolutely. Financial stress is a major stressor in any relationship. And then, of course, we can't ignore the historical context here. The legacy of systemic racism is still a very real force shaping the lives of Black individuals and families.
Yeah, and its impact is woven into so many aspects of life, from education and job opportunities to housing and healthcare. It all ties together. And those systemic inequalities absolutely play a role in the challenges that Black couples face.
It's like a ripple effect, how these historical injustices continue to impact the present.
Exactly. And then on top of all that, you layer in the influence of social media.
Oh, yeah, social media. That's a whole other beast. It seems like everyone's glued to their phones these days, constantly connected.
Yeah.
Do you think social media's impact on Black relationships is mostly positive or negative?
Honestly, I think it's a bit of a mixed bag. Social media can definitely be a source of support, connection. It allows Black couples to celebrate their love, connect with others who share similar experiences, and find a sense of community.
Yeah, for sure. Like, you see so many beautiful examples of Black love being celebrated online. It's really uplifting to see.
Absolutely. But at the same time, social media can also create a lot of pressure. It's easy to get caught up in comparisons, start feeling like your relationship doesn't measure up to what you see online. And those unrealistic expectations can really damage a relationship.
It's so true. Like that saying, comparison is the thief of joy. And I imagine those pressures are even more intense within the Black community, where there's already this history of scrutiny and judgment from the outside world.
Right. It adds another layer of complexity. But amidst all of these challenges, it's also important to highlight the incredible resilience and adaptability of Black couples. We're seeing more and more couples choosing to redefine what marriage and partnership mean to them.
Like what you were saying earlier about the rise of cohabitation.
Yeah.
It seems like people are really starting to question the traditional models and explore alternatives that better fit their needs and values.
Exactly. We're seeing a growing embrace of non-traditional relationship structures, whether it's cohabitation, blended families, or choosing to remain single and focus on personal growth.
It's a beautiful reminder that there's no one-size-fits-all approach to love and partnership. Black love is about finding what works, challenging those outdated norms, and creating fulfilling partnerships on your own terms.
It's about breaking free from those expectations and writing your own love story.
Love that. Okay, so before we wrap things up, let's try to distill all of this down into a few key takeaways.
Sure. So I think it's safe to say that Black marriages in the 21st century are incredibly dynamic. It's a complex interplay of historical influences, social pressures, individual choices. You can't just point to one factor and say, this is the reason.
It's about recognizing those nuances, those complexities, and understanding that there's no single story that captures the whole picture.
Exactly. It's about appreciating the full spectrum of experiences and choices, and most importantly, celebrating the strength, the resilience, and the love that continues to thrive within Black marriages.
And that brings up an interesting question for all of you listening. How do these trends in Black marriage reflect broader shifts in how society as a whole views love, partnership, family? What does it tell us about the evolving landscape of commitment and connection in the modern world?
It's something to really ponder, to think about how these individual stories and choices connect to those larger societal shifts.
Absolutely. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap things up for today. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time.
See you then.